I've got my PPE on, gloves, respirator. Good morning. Well, I came out to the field to check and see if it's dry enough for us to put some anhydrous on today, and I think we're good to go. So picking up a couple of rocks while I'm here, but this field I think is dry enough. It's good. I'm gonna go check one more, and then we'll get the tractor and the anhydrous bar and start side dress 2020. All right, well, I've got anhydrous bar on, folded up. We hooked up our tank, and we are gonna head out to the field here. We'll have to get stuff unfolded there, open the valves on our tank, and get all the lines bled out, pressure test everything. But yeah, time to go. I'll explain the whole anhydrous thing here in a little bit and how it works, what it is, why we're using it, all that once we get rolling in the field. There goes Dad, spraying corn today. All right, well, I've got a couple of passes done in the end rows, so I can show you what's going on here now that I can use my auto steer and stuff. But basically, we are feeding our corn. We are putting nitrogen fertilizer down. So in that white tank is, obviously, anhydrous ammonia. Chemical formula is NH3, and it is 82% nitrogen. So we inject this into the soil. We're trying to put it 6 to 8 inches deep, and basically it converts then, because NH3, I'll see, I'm not a chemist, so I don't know this exactly, but NH3 is lacking a hydrogen atom, electron I think, and so it's seeking to bind with water and kind of steal a electron from water, and it binds to the soil, converts into NH4, and then the plants use it from there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically that. It's a gas, but it's a liquid under pressure. It behaves a lot like propane does. And so we've got it pressurized in these tanks. We keep it pressurized and cooled through this cooler and valve system on there. And then as soon as it comes out of the knives that are injecting it into the ground, it becomes a gas to bind with the water in the soil. It's kind of dangerous stuff because it's seeking to bind with water so rapidly. You can't really breathe it in, or it'll burn the inside of your lungs and your eyes and any moist surface that it can get to. So we got to be extra cautious when we're using it. That's why I wear a mask when I'm out of the tractor, have gloves on when I'm turning valves and any of that kind of stuff. But it's the cheapest form of N. It's efficient, effective. The plants like it. They use it really well, and so that's what we use to feed our corn crop. We could also use, there's other products. There's a dry product called urea that we could use that you would have to broadcast on. The problem with that is getting a good even pattern. We can use liquid, the 28% nitrogen, like what we use on our wheat, but it's a little bit more expensive than anhydrous, and it has to go through an extra conversion process before the plants can actually use it. So, yeah, this is what we use. Our applicator is actually a 15 shank. We run between the corn rows, and the outside row actually puts on a rate and a half. So it's feeding kind of 2 rows at once, and then we skip a pass over there between them. There's one that doesn't have a shank run down it. So we match our planter with, basically I'm driving down the exact same tracks that I drove with the planter. All my guidance lines are saved on the display so that nothing has changed there. And yeah, we get to do all our corn acres like this. So those first 2 fields of corn that we planted, the 160 acres roughly, is what we can do today, and we'll see how it goes. Kind of the other thing that I really like about this is running them shanks through the ground. It really helps break up and get some air into the soil, get some more loose dirt there. After that big pounding rain that we had, our soil is getting hard and it's crusty, and so this kind of just helps soften stuff up a little bit, and I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but it feels like it gives the roots some good loose dirt to find and keep growing down. Well, for a first day, this is going pretty well. I don't know, I've got 25 acres or so done, and I just got my low tank warning to come up. So according to the monitor, we should have about 2 acres worth of anhydrous left in the tank. Now, it doesn't have a gauge hooked to that, so it's just going by what it's put on and what should have been in the tank to start with. So we kind of got to watch our pressure gauges there. We got one on each side, and when those start dropping down, then our tank is empty. And yeah, but it's going well here. The ground's really, it's sort of hard, but it's not wet. It's about the right moisture content, or what we want to see. So you will notice those 2 rows that are kind of bleeding out a little bit. Those 2 have vapor lines on them, that frosty line right there and one over here. Basically, this white piece in the middle there is a cooler, and it takes some vapor out of the liquid stream somehow. I don't know exactly how it works, but we run those lines down and inject it with the liquid anhydrous that's going in on those rows, and so sometimes those vapor lines bleed out quite a bit more, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Well, I was able to do 29.5 acres on that tank before it went empty. Didn't make that whole round there, so that's pretty good. I'm gonna write down what the monitor says somewhere. It's got a number, a total pounds applied, and Phil will take this tank back to the fertilizer plant, Wilbur Ellis, where we got it, and we'll get a weight on it, and then we can calibrate our flow meter and make sure that we're getting the right rate on. But I think it's pretty close, so that's a good thing. Well, I just got a text from Phil. He took that tank back and got a weight on it, and we were off by 90 pounds on a 5,200 pound of actual N. So that'd be 82% of the total weight, but that's less than 100 pounds. That's pretty good. I am going to calibrate my meter, but I'm going to do it with the tank that I'm putting on right now. Basically, when I first hooked up to this tank, I pushed a button to tell it that I was starting a calibration load, and when we're done with it, I'll stop it. Then when we get a weight, we can enter that in, and it will adjust. But we're well within 1%, maybe 2%. I'll have to do the math, but we're real close, so no problems there. Okay, our second tank is empty. I pushed the stop button on the calibrate there. Should have been 6,190 pounds in that tank, so we'll see what the tare weight is, and then we'll calibrate from there, but it's got to be fairly close. And this one conveniently ran out right there by the end and right next to my next tank, so we got to go unhook this and hook up to the next one. So when I'm unhooking here, hopefully you guys can hear me, I've got my PPE on, gloves, respirator. We've got to close both of these valves. This one's on the tank side. And this one on the hose. And once we get those closed, over here on the side, there's these little bleeder valves. And I'll open this one up, and it lets all of the anhydrous that's still in the connection point here out. Once that's empty, then I can start unscrewing this and taking our hose apart. And that's where I need 2 hands. Once I get it off, we kind of coil it up on the tongue here. Pull our pin on the tank. Try not to drop it on your toes. And then we go drive over and hook up to our next tank. Now that we're backed up to our next tank, we gotta hook up the tongue
which is there. The drawbar on the back of the anhydrous bar, it moves both side to side and out. I can't do it with one hand, but I'm gonna get that hooked up now. Okay, so I got that hooked up. We'll hook our safety chains. I'll have to back up to push this in so that the pin locks it in place. But we can hook our hose up. Basically, it's just the reverse. We got to take our cover off. And line that up and twist it on there. Once we've got this tight, we check our bleeder, make sure that's closed. There's also one on this tank, so we'll make sure that one's closed. And then we can open our hose and tank valves. Okay, so that's ready to go. Last thing, we've got a tarp strap that we like to clip. I'll have to go clear up here on this one. I'll have to move it, but just to help hold the hose up so it's not dragging in the dirt. Sort of like that. Most of the tanks have a little hook right here that we hook it to, but anyway, now we just got to back up and put in our monitor that we got a new tank, and away we go.
And I didn't even catch coronavirus while I was out there. What a deal. So let's see here. We'll back up and there. I don't know if you can see that handle right there pop up when I did that. But so now our tank is latched. And then on the monitor here, we basically just push this button, hit refill tank, and it puts back in what it should have, what the tank is supposed to have full. And then it'll count down so we'll know when the next one's getting low. Alright, well, we've got 56, almost 57 acres done in this field, about 27 or so to go, which means this tank should do it because we're getting close to 30 acres on a fill. It's going to be close. I don't know if we'll have enough on this one or not, because I'm variable rating my nitrogen in this field, and this half of the field is better than that half, so our rate's a little bit higher over here. It'll be really close. Well, we are getting right down to the end of the field here. I've just got a couple of rounds in the middle. I jumped over and started along the one end because I didn't want to get stuck behind that house lot where the rows don't go out to the road if I happen to run just a little bit short with this tank. We're down to a little over 6 acres to go here. These last, what do we got? Maybe 3 rounds. I don't know if we're going to have enough or not, but it'll be close. I was noticing, though, how nice it is to have those new front tires we put on this tractor over the winter, because they got a little more traction and they're helping pull. This anhydrous bar pulls a lot harder than the corn planter does. We're using a lot more power, we're using a lot more fuel, and we're slipping a fair amount. We're running 6 to 10% slip pretty consistently, and let's see, burning 17 gallons an hour of fuel, which works out to 6/10, 7/10 per gallon, or gallons per acre, somewhere in there. I think with the planter we were like 3/10, 4/10, so we're burning almost twice as much fuel putting anhydrous on, because it just pulls that much harder. So we are moving a little bit faster. We're able to go 5.5 to 6, depending on how hard the ground is. You can see that. So that's kind of nice, but we got to stop frequently and change tanks that I don't have to do with a planter. So it's really going to take us about the same amount of time to put the anhydrous on as it does to plant. But that's okay. And like I said, we've just got kind of these 2 fields that we can do right now, and then we got to wait for corn to grow a little bit and make sure our stands are okay and all that. So I'm going to see if I can finish this up. Then we got to go back and get more fuel. There, now you can see it. I wasn't full when I started this field by any means, but I didn't even think about that I would need more to do the rest. So anyway, yeah, finish this, go fuel up, and go to the next field. Getting close now. Low tank volume. 2.3 acres. Says I got 4.8. I don't think we're gonna make it. Well, I didn't quite make it. I got to here in the last pass and the tank ran empty, so we got a new one. Phil had just gotten back, bringing me another tank, and hope we'll make the last pass, and then we're gonna drive up to the farm, fuel up, and head to the next field. This last pass in the middle here is not quite a full pass. We're actually overlapping there a little bit. Unfortunately, this does not have individual row or even 2-row sections on it that it can shut off. It does do half width, so we've got a valve over there and a valve over there, so we can do half and half, but where we get 3 or 4 rows that are overlapping like that, well, they end up getting double applied. Nothing I can do about it. All right, this field is done. We're gonna drive up to the farm, and we're actually gonna take the shortcut instead of driving all the way back to the other end of the field to get to the road. We're gonna cut through over here. The farm is right through that gap. We can just go around here. So this field is pretty well done until harvest. Dad's already got it sprayed, and we don't really need to do anything else out here other than scout it a little bit until we come in and harvest it. We may spray a fungicide on it at some point, but that kind of to be determined, I guess. Looks like Dad's doing a little cleaning up. Anyway, filled up, back to the field. I was also able to stock up on some essentials while I was fueling up. Thanks, Mom. Do you guys remember a few weeks ago when I showed my dad fixing that tile? It was right here, right through there. We buried it. Completely fixed the problem. 100%. Oh, there's a little wet spot right there. 98%. That's awesome. So that last field that we were in, the rows ran north and south. This field, they run east and west. And we've got a bit of a tailwind at the moment, and boy, can I smell that anhydrous. It's not terribly strong, but it's enough to make you want to take a really deep breath. It's also why there will be no video clips of my boys riding with me while we're doing anhydrous. Absolutely will not want them in the cab with me.
Well, I've been waiting for it, and it finally happened. Something broke. This anhydrous bar is pretty high maintenance. We broke a bolt. That's not supposed to be up like that. That one's not a big deal because it's just a broken bolt. We must have hit a rock or something, so we got to loosen this bolt, get it back into place, put a second bolt through this hole down here, tighten it up, and it'll be fine. Good as new.
It's not so bad when it's just a bolt that breaks. When it's the shank or the knife or the mount, God forbid that, because those ones are really bad to change. But yeah, something else breaking takes a lot more time. A bolt's a pretty quick fix, so that's what we like. Well, maybe not like, but prefer over the other ones. Phil just texted me with the weight on that second tank, the one that we did the calibration for. We were again off by 90 pounds, which is consistent if nothing else. So I went ahead and entered that in there and changed the calibration number by like 10 or something, which is minor adjustment. So yeah, we should be good. We'll have to wait until we hook up a new tank and write down the weight when we finish that one to get it, check it again. But we're right on. That first one and the second one, they were both within 2%. That's awfully darn close. So we're gonna keep moving across here. We got about 20 acres done in the second field. Gives me a little over 50 to go yet, and then we'll have the side dressing that we can do for now done. Time for another tank change. You guys know why it's not a good idea to YouTube and farm? See that pass right over there that I clearly went down with the anhydrous bar right next to the pass that we're doing now? You see on my monitor how there's a skip there and it didn't record anything? That's what happens when you forget to push the master switch. Made the whole pass. Didn't put any nitrogen on. Whoops. That one, right there. You gotta click that little foot switch on the ends. I forgot. At least that mistake cost me 10 minutes and a quarter's worth of fuel. Better than 6 or 8 bags of corn. Sort of looks like rain over there. Which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to get a 1/10 or a quarter of an inch of rain. I would like to get this last 40 acres done first, but we'll see. Talked to some of the neighbors today. It sort of sounded like we were in a pretty small pocket here, like just 3 or 4 miles wide, that didn't catch some of the rain last night. There was a shower that come through, and I guess in Waldron in town, that's only, what, 3-4 miles from here, they had half an inch of rain. And when I was on my way home going the other way, we get another 2 miles down the road, and the road was wet there, and the neighbor to the north a couple miles said they had 3/10. So we were in a real small pocket here, but we didn't get anything. I remembered to click it this time. Yeah, just hitting it twice, no big deal. Well, that rain seemed to have moved west and north of us, but now I look off to the southwest, and within the mile there, it's raining. I don't know if it's coming this way or not, but we're right on the edge of it if we don't get any. It looks okay to the south, but yeah, I don't know. We might get rained out here. So like I said earlier, a little bit of rain wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And by a little bit, I mean like a quarter of an inch or less. And I know that seems weird after we had 5 inches like a week ago, a little over a week ago, because the ground is not dry. It's good conditions now, but it's not like we're in a drought and starving for moisture. But what rain would do for us is kind of soften that top layer up. So our clay gets pretty crusty on top after we get a pounding rain, and then we get heat and sunshine, and it dries that moisture out, dries out the top inch or two. That ground gets really hard. And with some of our crops still trying to emerge and poke through that, if we were to get a little bit of rain, it would moisten the top of the soil surface up, soften it up, allow those plants, corn or beans, whatever it is, to push up through the dirt and emerge and start growing a little bit better. So while I'm not looking for a lot of rain, certainly not a couple of inches of rain, a little bit would help. See them? Do you see the raindrops? I don't even know if we'll make it back to the other end of the field. We're going to try. Not a good thing when you got to turn the windshield wipers on. Also, my windshield wiper sucks. Oh well. Well, I finished that round, and it's sort of not raining or let up, and I don't know, it's not too wet yet. Sticky. We're going to keep going. And as soon as I turn around, it starts raining harder. Oh well. Putting anhydrous on isn't quite as picky as planting when it comes to wet and sticky, because there's no gauge wheels, there's nothing that the dirt is going to stick to on the anhydrous bar that's going to make it not work. What the issue is it becomes muddy and sticky and starts sticking to the tires, and will start spinning, and last thing you want to do is start running over corn because you can't stay in the rows. So yeah, it's raining heavier now. Looks like we're gonna have to quit here pretty quick. Yep, that's it. Slip's getting bad, pulling harder, muddy, sticking to the tires. We're done. Well, bummer. 23 acres left in this field. Would have been nice to get done. What are you gonna do? So, oh well. We'll fold up, head back up to the farm, and look at the radar, see what things look like. I'm sure we won't be able to come back tonight, but maybe we can finish it in the morning if we don't get very much here before we get more rain tomorrow. Now I'm thinking about sitting here until it stops raining. You ready? Let's do this. Go, go, go! Don't slip on the concrete. Made it. Okay, well, we ended up with a quick 2/10 there. About perfect, really. We'll see if we get any more rain the next couple of days, but that will probably keep us out from doing anything in the fields tomorrow, but that's okay. I told you guys earlier in the week that I had an uncle that passed away here this last weekend. Looks like funerals and stuff is going to be on Saturday. So tomorrow, well, and with all of the COVID stuff, everything's kind of limited as far as people and space, and that's kind of tough. So we're thinking about having a little gathering for people here at our farm afterwards. So tomorrow's probably going to be a cleaning day, mostly spent just cleaning up the shop, cleaning out probably the grates in the driveway, some of that kind of stuff, just to make it decent around here. So we'll see, but it's kind of the tentative plan at the moment. Anyway, I'm going home, so hit the like and subscribe buttons for me, please. It was good to be back in the fields today, get a little tractor seat time and get some of that nitrogen put on. We're almost 10% done with our side dressing, so that's a good day. And those two cornfields that we were in look really good. That's a good sign. We do need to spend some time, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, walking some more of these cornfields, and kind of it's time to make a decision. Either we're going to replant or we're not. So I did talk to both two different agronomists today, and we'll see what they say. Or I think one of them may be coming on Friday morning to look at some crops and stuff. And it's just, replant is such a hard decision to make, because on one hand you give up 3 or 4 weeks of planting dates. On the other hand, if your stand's not good enough, it's not going to be very good anyway. So, and then it's, do you patch it in, or do you tear it out and start over? And I just, it's hard. So I want a second opinion on that. But anyway, questions, comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you guys probably tomorrow, but we'll see.